All right, students, welcome back. We're looking at ICA 11.2. We're looking at the next decision tool that we can use for our financial decision making, and that's a net present value. And just a reminder, net present value is when we take all of the future cash flows of a project, the expected future cash flows, discount those back to the start of the project, and then compare those to the cost of the project or the initial cash outflow to see if we have a positive number or a negative number. A positive number means, yes, it's a good project. It will make the company money. Negative number means it would be a loss to the company on the project. So let's take a look at this. First question on ICA 11.2. Concrete Corporation is looking at investing $200,000 on a project that will produce the following cash flows. These given here. The cost of capital is 14.5%, which is what we talked about in Chapter 14. Should the project be undertaken using the net present value method, okay? So there's really two steps that need to be done in order to calculate NPV of any project that we see, in order to calculate NPV of any project, okay? So the first thing is you have to look at the present or the future cash flows present value. That's what FCFPV stands for, the future cash flows present value. Okay, and in order to do that, we are going to use the NPV function. So you do equal NPV function, and the rate is given to us. A cost of capital for the organization is 14.5%. And then you do comma, and it says all the values. We are going to take all the values. Remember, this is for the future cash flow. So we're just going to look at the future cash flows of the project. Years 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're not going to include year 0 because we're going to go back and compare this number to that initial cost to get our final NPV. Even though we use the net present value, the NPV function here, that's only step 1 of 2. So we go ahead and enter and we say, okay, the future or the present value of the future cash flows is $197,653.70. Now, the second step is we have to compare this to our initial cost, or in essence, add it to a negative cost. And so that would show us that our initial or our net present value on this would be a negative. So since it is negative, we do not do the project. We do not do the project that we see there, okay? So negative NPV means no, it's really going to lose money for the organization. The second question says, what's the profitability index? What is profitability index? Profitability index really does the same thing as NPV, but instead of subtracting future cash flows from the original cost, you're actually just comparing. You're creating a ratio that we see, okay? And so for profitability index, you're going to find your future cash flows, the present value of future cash flows, and you're going to divide it by your original cost. Now, notice your original cost is negative, so we want to change it to a positive. So I'm going to do negative and then 200,000. So it ends up a positive ratio, and it is 0.99. And in essence, what profitability index is telling you is for every dollar you invest in this project, you're going to get back about 99 cents, which is a loss for the organization. That's not what we want. All right. So Philip Paper Company is evaluating the two investments shown below. The computerized machine will require an initial investment of $400. Manual is $350. Okay, given the following cash flows, should they go with computerized or should they go with manual? Okay, well, since I already used the formula here, I'm going to go ahead and copy it down here and see, did I get it all? Oops, so notice when I copied that, the NPV function included year 0. We don't want to include year 0 in that initial function. Okay, so we looked at the future cash flows, the present value of the future cash flows for both of those. Oops, I didn't want to do that. Copy that over here. So we have that. Next step is we take our future cash flows and we are going to add in the negative cost to see if we come up with a positive. Same thing here. Our future cash flows plus our original cost of $350. And then we're going to look at profitability index. If you remember, profitability index is the future cash flows divided by the negative initial cost. As long as the initial cost is negative, then we want to put the negative sign in there. So we look at this and we notice, yes, based on NPV and profitability index, computerized machine is your better choice. Okay? Now this question says, what if the